Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I said episode again. I'm gonna just keep saying episode because it's really supposed to be entry, but oh well. Another entry in Alone in the Crowd. Been a while since I made a video, mostly because things were all right. I think the reason why I didn't make a video for so long is because I was so wrapped up in trying to move my business forward, trying to do, all that. And now that I've kind of been not forced, but I've realized that I have to wait for something else to happen, something that's kind of outside of my control. And that's kind of the reason why I'm making this video now, is because, as I said, being so busy and having to wait leaves me in this gray area where I feel so driven, and I'm feeling almost too ambitious because this other thing that I can't really talk about, but that needs to move forward before I can really move any more forward. But it feels like but it's so much slower than the pace I'm used to if I was just didn't have to wait for that. And so I'm sitting here thinking, I feel so restricted, almost like I said, that gray area of I'm trying to make a go of this. I'm trying to make this business successful, and so my ambition and drive should be a good thing for this other thing that is a bit slower. But I'm also worried that the amount of work I've done is going to complicate that other thing. And I know probably it's a bit annoying for me just to speak very vaguely about it, but it is an important thing in my whole journey here. So knowing that I have to kind of wait for this other thing to go through its steps and process, and it just it feels there's like an anxiety almost, and when it kind of you're sitting still, but it feels like just under your skin, like you're wanting to kind of break out, and so it's that kind of anxious, misfiring of the kind of fight or flight kind of stuff. So it's been kind of stressful, mostly on myself. But I will say that as of recording this today, I got up this morning and I actually felt much better. Which I figured it was a good time to record this now that I don't feel that way. But from yesterday all the way back for the last 2 weeks, it just made me realize that being a neurodivergent person, being on the autism spectrum, and the way that, everyone's different, of course, but the way that I work, being that, on the spectrum, is different than your regular 9 to 5 kind of work. And reflecting on that, it's these last 2 weeks, I think I have worked more than I really needed to. Because of other things that also, as I mentioned, other things that need to kind of catch up to that point and before I can start this other sort of phase of it all. So yeah, it just reminds me that like you can have that, and I'm sure other neurodivergent people could probably relate to some extent, where like you feel like the way that your brain works, the way that you work, is different from that neurotypical 9 to 5 way. And so you kind of catch yourself in these moments of feeling like you've worked so much, but then you almost have to put it on hold before you can like push it any farther. So you end up getting like you're doing all this work, and it feels like you've got this pile that you want to like put out there. You got these ideas, these products, whatever it may be, and you want to like get those out there. So I want to move forward, get all, I want to sell this stuff, or I want to pursue this area or whatever. But the sort of neurotypical world around you, and especially if there are other things that that you kind of need to have that is out of your control. It puts you in this, like you just feel like someone's holding you back, even if you know that this particular thing that you feel is taking too long, or it's like, when you know that it's going to help you, but it's like it doesn't work the same way you do, and so you kind of have to just kind of sit there at like just before the finish line, and you just have to sit there. You're so close, but you have to sit there and wait for the other person to get there. It's kind of, it's like, I don't know, it's like a it's almost like a relay race in a way. It's like you're the last person before the finish line, and you know that the way you work, you're able to get to that finish line, whatever that goal may be. And of course, there'll probably be several goals through the journey of self-employment, but that next goal you want, that you can get there so quickly. Once someone hands that off to you, you can just go with it. But you're sitting there in anticipation with this anxiety of like, okay, this person isn't getting here fast enough. And the person could be anybody and anything. It could be an individual, it could be some sort of like funding or permits or whatever it is, But it's not reaching you fast enough. It's not reaching you as fast as it would if you were the one getting to that point, If only you could like clone yourself and kind of do that process, then it would be much quicker. Anyway, if this makes any sense, I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but oh well, that's the point of these videos. They're not perfect. But yeah, I don't even know if that made any sense, but But yeah, feeling like I guess that's it. Feeling like you're stuck right at the finish line. Like you just have that little bit left, but you have to wait for the other person, whatever it may be, to kind of hand you off that next little bit. So then you can go to that, cross that finish line, finish that goal. But when that person is just taking longer, it's just taking much longer than you ever would, or much longer than, it's like you're just sitting there waiting, watching them slowly make their way towards you, and you're just thinking I just hand this off to me already. Like I'm good. I don't, it's like I'm right there. I've been waiting for this for some time, and it's right there. Just, yeah. I don't know if that made any sense or not. Yeah. Maybe people can figure out what I said. I don't know. I guess I'm not the best with verbal communication sometimes. But I think you kind of get what I'm trying to say is, having that sort of neurodivergent brain and the way that I and many others kind of work is different than your typical 9 to 5, corporate, government, whatever, environments. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's all I have to say about that today. And I guess I'll add a bit to this. I would like to continue making these, like making them more frequent, as opposed to like these long chunks of time. I think having a more consistent update as we go through, and maybe offering some other things through this particular channel. I know it's just podcast network, but maybe offering some like behind the scenes kind of stuff. Maybe adding like clips to these particular entries that are so they end up becoming more like vlogs. I don't know. But I think we maybe when we're doing like podcast recordings, even if they're audio only, maybe having a few clips that are video as sort of like little behind the scenes moments. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next one.